Hi, my name is Kelsey Holt, and the policy that I'm going to be talking about today is general assistance. General assistance, this program is designed to aid individuals who do not care for a dependent as a child, and they don't qualify for other assistant programs such as unemployment and Social Security. General assistance is very hard to narrow down because it is state funded. So the qualifications and things like that vary from state to state and even county to county. There's even counties that have their own version of a general assistance program. But overall, it is categorized into two categories: those that are deemed employable and those that are deemed unemployable. Employable meaning that they're just in financial need. So maybe they're between jobs and just kind of looking for something just to get them through until they find a new job. And then those who are considered unemployable are unemployable because of reasons such as disability, age, things like that. So all the qualifications, the duration of how long somebody can be on general assistance, things like that, just kind of vary all over the place. But the maximum benefit that somebody can receive on general assistance is generally determined on their family size or eligibility category, again, whether they're employable or unemployable, and their living arrangements. So somebody who's deemed unemployable because of their disability or age are going to more than likely see more benefits than somebody who's deemed employable and is looking for a job. So for a history of general assistance, it can actually be traced back to the Elizabethtown Poor Laws. Back then, there was what's called a Board of Overseers. So when there was somebody who was needing some assistance, they would present their case to the Board of Overseers. Then the Board of Overseers would determine how much to give them. But then in the 1920s, of course, the country got hit with the Great Depression, and the amount of need that our country was facing at that time was overwhelming for the General Assistance Program and just that Board of Overseers. So that's when we saw the federal government step in a lot more, and then needs became categorized. And programs such as the Social Security, Unemployment Veterans Association, things like that stepped into play. So then over time, general assistance just kept dwindling down until it just kind of is for that population that doesn't have a dependent or anybody relying on them, and they don't qualify for some of the other programs. So some arguments in favor of general assistance and welfare in general. Of course, helping those in need is a human rights issue. We're all responsible to assist and help out our neighbors. There comes a point in everybody's life when they're going to need assistance, whether or not they're lucky enough to have family members or friends that they can rely on. Or whether or not they need the assistance of some of these federal government programs. But welfare programs, another argument is that they can also help to reduce poverty and close income gaps since they're providing resources and financial aid to those who need it most. Arguments against general assistance and welfare programs in general. We hear this a lot. There's the argument that people think that it keeps beneficiaries lazy and keeps them dependent upon taxpayers' money and the government. There is also an argument that the reason that the reason that somebody is poor matters. And if they're poor because of circumstances out of their control, then yes, they should be entitled to these government programs that offer assistance. But if they're poor because of bad choices that they have made in their life, then they should not be entitled to these. They should just kind of get their life together is another argument against general assistance. And then there are those who also say that these welfare programs don't actually cure or solve poverty. They're just masking the symptoms of it. So the overall evaluation of general assistance, I know since the 1920s, of course, it is kept dwindling down, but over the last 30 years, the general assistance programs have seen a significant cut, with states either completely cutting out the general assistance program or their budget has been significantly cut. Right now, there are 18 states that offer general assistance programs. Very interestingly, that over these last 20 to 30 years, of this remaining states that did keep their general assistance programs, they slashed their budgeting for general assistance so much that in 2020, beneficiaries received less money than they did in 1998. So my example that I have on here is New York. In 1998, the maximum benefit that a person could receive per month was $568. And last year, in 2020, $398 a month. So I'm trying to wrap my head around in New York, just picturing somebody who's between jobs and just trying to keep themselves afloat while they're looking for a new job, getting by on $398 a month. So to me, that is the main reason that social workers need to be informed and know about this policy, mainly so that we can advocate for it, because that is um, just really incredible to me that we're not even keeping this the same. The max benefits, they're decreasing each year as to what they're willing to pay the beneficiaries for it. So for my recommendations, that uh, seems pretty common sense to me that for the GA programs that are still out there, at the very least, be consistent with inflation, or just keep it the same, stop cutting it and making these benefits so drastically low. I do believe that all states, though, should be required to have some type of general assistant program. Um, this population of people, there is nothing else out there for them if they don't have general assistance. And so for those who are affected by the absence of a general assistant program, it could even potentially lead to homelessness for these people if they can't get just something to keep them afloat. There's of all the population that is on welfare programs, general assistance and TANF counted for 1% of that population. It was around 23% of the population of the United States of America, and then 1% of that 23% was general assistance and TANF combined together. So with that being said, I can understand, since of course, if you're just looking at general assistance on paper and you're looking at those statistics and you're seeing that, okay, well, this is just affecting less than 1% of the population that's even on welfare, on some type of assistant program. I can see if you're just looking at statistics and numbers, how that'd be like, okay, well, let's get rid of this. This isn't really doing anything. That's not a very large number of people. But so you could see, I guess, just looking at it that way, how some politicians and policymakers would want to just get rid of those. But what's so great about social workers is that we don't look at that. We don't look at the numbers and we don't look at the statistics. We look at the individuals. And so I think that another great aspect, because it's state funded and state ran, every state and even counties inside that state can mold general assistance to fit that community's needs. It doesn't, and there's not going to be all these rules and regulations and things that they have to follow coming from the federal government. I mean, they can, yeah, they can just make general assistance, how best it needs to be for that area, which I think is great. And then, I mean, that gives every state then would have as a little small safety net for individuals of this population who may lose their job or have a disability, and give them a little bit of breathing room. So thank you so much. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.